Real success, sustained success, comes from brand loyalty, from customer retention, repeat business that you can have. And this is what the arguments look like, all right? It's a matter of perspective. It's a 6 or a 9, all right? Well, when we perceive things, they represent good or bad. This is the opinions now become the knee-jerk reaction to the smell, the light in our face, the temperature outside, the greens that are in the salad, and so forth. All right? And there is no right or wrong. There's just different markets. And there's different places and ways to go about. So knowing what that is, and then how you describe and how you communicate value and so forth, and then finally what you're projecting, because this is actually what you want to happen, is you want to be able to convince enough people that your product's the right product. You want agreement for that. It won't be objective because there's people, and how many of us has sat in a wine tasting and somebody's going on with this descriptive blah, 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 and you go, what's wrong with me? I don't get any of that crap. Anybody? How many people have had some wine and food combination? It shouldn't be the right thing, but it's really absolutely delicious. I challenge every one of you for a week. Pose as a white Zin or a Moscato drinker when you go into a restaurant, or an especially high-end restaurant. Go into a steakhouse. I was told once by a really well-intending $1 million sommelier guy in Costa Mesa, no, sir, and he touched my shoulder, which you're trained to do if you've got irate, unreasonable customers. You really shouldn't have the white Zinfandel with your steak. It'll be overpowered. And I said, well, why? He said, well, you need a heavier wine. And do this. Try this. Get a bottle of, or a glass of white Zinfandel or Moscato or a sweet, low-alcohol German Riesling, and get a Cabernet, a Petit Syrah, Bordeaux, any big-ass red you want. Gently pour the red wine in. Now, the heavy wine would sink, right? That's what the word heavy means. The Cabernet will float. It's lighter. It's a lower specific gravity. And this is one of the big problems that we're all in our education and our learning. We're taught that it's got to be a certain way because that's what the agreement. It's obvious that you have the heavy wine with the heavy steak. What's not obvious that heavy wine is a contronym, because heavy wine actually would be the sweet, low alcohol wine, not the intense red wine that we conjure up, the metaphor that we've got to connect us to it. So think differently. Spend some time talking with consumers. Spend way more time also talking with the gatekeepers and the people that stand between you, your product, and getting it into the mouth of the consumer. So if you're producing wine, you've got to sell it to the distributors. You've got to build that online presence. You've got to drive people through advertising to go to your tasting room and so forth and join your wine club. And there's ways that you can do it that you may be totally missing because we're trying so hard to get our certifications and learn the language and learn the wine and food pairing and so forth. Personalize that connection, all right? Know that the messaging from one point through the supply chain, from production to the distributor salesperson, to the buyer, to the sommelier and the people selling the wine, it's probably going to be a very different story and a different value proposition that needs to be personalized to those gatekeepers, okay? And a successful brand is one that has a positive perception inasmuch as a person picks up is engaged, picks up the product or orders the product and tries it off the wine list, off the shelf, off the internet, in the tasting room, all right? Real success, sustained success, comes from brand loyalty, from customer retention, repeat business that you can have. And creating ambassadors, people are so impressed with the perception of the product that they had that they'll tell other people about it. All right? For a number of years, up until, again, very recently, the number one selling wine in the Mondavi tasting room was what? Anybody know? Number one, Moscato d'Oro. And Moscato d'Oro in a 375 ml bottle that sells for $60. Do the math on that. That's a cash cow. It is unbelievable how profitable you can have wine be if you don't self-impose limitations on the market because of the BS that we've been taught about who those consumers are. People do want luxury products that might like sweet wines or dried, delicate whites or whatever. And creating that perception is the essence of marketing. And success is when you get the loyalty and retention, you win. That's what it's all about.